So we'll move on to tonight's pitching companies, the first of which, Radder. I'm so excited about this one. This is a fishing gear and apparel company for women whose goal is to create quality, durable gear made to actually fit women. They believe women shouldn't just have to settle for baggy men's clothing, making it work. They do not like the idea of something being shrinked and pinked in order to make it for the ladies. They're creating something just for women. So let's please welcome founder Megan Bolt to hear just how she makes it Radder. Where are you, Megan? I like this strategy. All right, Megan, come on up.
All right. I decided to dress in my version of business casual. Alrighty. Unadjust this. All right. Can I take this off? It's okay. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Hi, you all. Super happy to be here. My name is Megan Bolt. I'm a student at OSU Cascades, and I'm the founder of Radder. Radder is a technical gear and fishing apparel company for women, specifically in commercial and sport fishing. Just to clarify, this is not fly fishing. This is ocean saltwater fishing, I guess is how you could think of it in simple terms. So, just as a little background, I've worked up in Alaska for the past 4 summers now, actually, as a fish cutter at a fishing lodge, which means that I need quality gear. Up in Alaska, we fish for halibut, lingcod, salmon, and other stuff like that. And I'm often working 10 to 12-hour workdays on the docks and sometimes on the boat in unpredictable weather conditions, often navigating hazards around the docks. So I need quality gear, and gears like these bibs that I'm wearing right here are really essential to my job success. However, I quickly became frustrated by the lack of quality gear for women on the market and the lack of gear on the market and then the lack in quality in what does exist. And I took my frustrations to other women in the industry and found that I was not alone in my frustrations. While I also found that many men in the industry who are not your average size male also struggle with these same things. So, what is the market like? So the fishing industry in the US is a $50 billion industry comprised of 50 million anglers, and about 37% of those are women, or about 18 million anglers. And women are the largest growing demographic in fishing as well. So our initial target market is nearly 3.5 million women in saltwater fishing, while these women spend about $30 million a year on foul weather gear alone. In addition, the spending could be even more, as women drive 70 to 80% of consumer spending. So it's silly in more ways than one to not cater to women in this market. So I took a survey with women in the industry and found that 80% of women in this industry struggle to find gear that fits their needs, while 90% of them said that they wish that there were more gear on the market for women. While every single woman who took the survey noted something that current gear didn't execute well or completely lacked. All right. And there's only one other brand that makes this kind of gear for women, and that brand is Grundens. While Grundens does offer some options for women, the options that they do offer are minimal and don't stack up to what women in the industry need. Grundens offers 4 different types of bibs for women in the industry, as compared to the 23 for men. So let's take a second and just think about that. There is 4 bib options for the 3.5 million women in this industry from one brand. And they're terrible. So Grundens gear can prove to be baggy, cumbersome, lacks in functionality and adjustability, and desirable aesthetic, and proves to be misguidedly girly, or what some would call shrinked and pinked. The bibs that I'm wearing right now are the men's gear, just because the lack of fit in the women's gear or the improper fit in women's gear, I should say, just doesn't fit me and many other women in the industry. So, there are various other women's brands in the market, such as Carhartt, Huck, and Patagonia, who offer minimal options of these kind of bibs for men. And there continues to be this pervasive misconception, not just in this market, but many markets in general, where we're seeing growing women in these male-dominated industries, that the pervasive misconception is that women can wear men's gear and all will be fine. However, men's gear does not take into consideration how women are shaped differently from men and how women move differently than men. And in proper gear like this, in a job like this, where you're navigating hazards, where you're navigating hazards and are working long work days, can prove to be uncomfortable throughout long work days, and can also prove a myriad of safety, performance, and efficiency issues. So I think that Radder can do better. I believe that gear that I need for my job should not be one of the barriers to completing my job successfully. So we're going to begin with foul weather gear, where my initial frustration stemmed from. And we're going to start with a set of foundational products, including these fishing bibs that I'm wearing right here, and then a fishing jacket as well. So how is it going to be different than what is currently on the market? So the things that women suggested in the survey that I took that current gear lacks or doesn't execute well is customizable sizing, a better fit for women, added pockets, and better aesthetic design. So we'll take all of this into consideration and make a better fit for women, add pockets, and then allow for customizable sizing through adjustable length, straps, and then the waist. And then this is my prototype of a prototype where you can just Velcro it right here. Another thing about that too is that not only can customizable sizing benefit people with different body types, it can also benefit you throughout the day. So like when you're working 10 to 12 hours a day, you're often changing layers, putting layers on, taking them off. And so being able to adjust it will allow you to find a maximal fit at any time. So this will all work to eliminate safety and efficiency issues and provide more comfort throughout long work days. So we estimate that these will cost about $35 to $40 each to produce and can retail for about $110 to $140 each. And then we estimate we can get this cost down as well. And then this is comparable to other brands on the market. So we're thinking that we're going to begin direct-to-consumer e-commerce and then expand into wholesale after that. So we also hope to really focus on brand as one of our selling points. So we hope to present ourselves as a brand that is for women. So women need and are often more empowered to buy from brands that stand for and represent women. Our goal here at Radder is not just to create quality, durable gear for women, but also to simultaneously empower them by recognizing them as a vital part of the marine industry. And we also hope to give back to the environment, support the communities that we're a part of, and advocate for sustainability in gear repair and longevity. So we believe that we have a few competitive advantages. I should have brought water up here. So first, retailers have got, oh, thank you. Give me just 1 sec. We know each other, so it's okay. So we believe our first competitive advantage is that retailers in this industry, in adjacent industries, have gotten lazy when it comes to women, and it's become acceptable. In addition, there's very low competition right now, and we've seen very little innovation in women's products in a long time. And we believe we have the brand to expand into other adjacent markets where we're seeing the same trend. So right now, our focus is women in commercial and sport fishing, but we hope to expand into other male-dominated industries where we're seeing rising numbers of women who are facing the same issues, inadequate workwear, such as marine research, fly fishing, and hunting. So my team is comprised of me, Tessie Blake, our designer who works at Rugged Thread, for those of you who know. She's a seamstress and designer with experience in international production with the goal of making women feel comfortable in whatever they're wearing, as well as Adam Kranicki, executive director of the Innovation Collab, is one of my mentors, and I'm based out of Ben Tech as well. Yeah. So in the next year, we hope to launch a business, raise capital through a Kickstarter campaign, find a manufacturer to manufacture our bibs, and begin sales. We estimate that we have an initial startup fees of $20,000 in order to design, produce, and test our prototypes. And what I really need is I need you, and I need your network's help, and I need experienced people to help me execute a successful crowdfunding campaign, as well as experience and connections in manufacturing, supply chain management, and bringing products to market. So come talk to me if you want to lend a hand or participate in the initial Kickstarter or just help an awesome women's brand come to market. So with that, let's start to make gear that is Radder. I'm not going yet.
Megan, it's so good. It's so cool. It's so cool. So I was so looking forward to talking with you about this. Where are you currently at? Like, how close are you to having a prototype?
Yeah, well, our goal is to have a prototype to test, hopefully by this summer. Right now, this is where our prototype is at, but we have a bunch of drawings, and we're working on another one that's a little bit choppy right now, but we're hoping to have one in production. So that I'm going back up to Alaska this summer in June, so hopefully I can test it and give it to some other women in the industry to test as well.
Awesome. Do we have any questions from the audience for Megan? Anybody? I think anybody want to just write her a check right now? I mean, it's just amazing. So how long have you been fishing for?
I've been fishing I've been up in Alaska for the past 4 years, but I honestly I'd fished maybe 10 times my entire life before that, and I just went up there and fell in love with the lifestyle, and yeah, it's just awesome to see people fishing for sustenance and for fun, and just, yeah, it's an awesome community up there, so.
I got a question. So are you going to be using similar materials to what are already in market, or do you feel like there could be a source of competitive advantage from new materials?
So will you be using the same existing materials people are using in the market, or will you be trying to source new materials?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we're looking at different materials right now. The industry standard is coated polyester and nylon. Right now we're just looking into other different materials to see if we can find another material that's as stretchy and can provide the fit we're looking for with maximum mobility. We'd like to see if we can do a little bit of a tighter, not tighter fit, but just a little bit of a more slim fit. So with that, we'd have to find material that's just as durable and just as, allows for the same mobility. So we're experimenting with that. Yeah.
I feel like you're going to be the Lululemon of commercial fishing gear.
Yeah, that's the
How about for you?
So the one you're wearing right now is bright.
Yes,
Is that
it is.
Is that requirements, or can you pick various colors?
So can you pick various colors, or is the brightness a requirement in terms of safety?
Yeah, so there are some regulations around commercial fishing. Commercial fishing is the smaller of our markets, but it is still our market. Generally for commercial fishing, people wear bright orange, but this generally is not a regulation. There might be some sub-markets for this regulation, but like where I work in sport fishing, there is no regulation, and the gear that is currently on the market comes in ugly colors like this one. And I tried so hard to find something other than green, high-vis yellow, high-vis orange, and a few, there's a couple other ugly colors. And then the women's ones are, of course, black, white, or pink. And they all have pink on them, which is shrinked and pinked.
Right, like pink camouflage is just so cool. How about for you, sir?
Do you know that the woman who designed Patagonia and sells women's fly fishing gear lives in Bend?
Did you know that the primary designer for Bend women's fly fishing gear works for Patagonia, lives in Bend?
I think so. Are you talking about Kim Brannick? Yeah, I do. I've met with her, so yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Are you going to do, you're obviously have some contract manufacturing done, so you get a prototype, and then what?
So what happens after you have a prototype for your contract manufacturing?
Well, I guess that's definitely what I need help on. Right now, we're kind of just in the prototype phase, and I'm always looking for connections and people who have more experience in manufacturing than I do. I have quite a few mentors who can help me at that stage, but right now, all I have planned is pretty much is just to do our prototypes, test them this summer, and then in the next few months we'll be working on figuring out where to manufacture that and where to go from there. We're a pretty early stage company. I really started launching this last year, and now we're kind of starting to take off and figure out all those logistics. Yeah.
Yes.
What are your plans in terms of crowdfunding follow-up in order to, kind of get yourself up off the ground?
So what does it look like to follow up on your crowdfunding to get yourself up off the ground?
Yeah, do you mean after we raise the money, what to do?
Well,
Or I guess.
Whenever you can crowdfund, you kind of mentioned how much you're hoping to raise.
Yeah.
What do you need to really to get your prototype up and working, to get to manufacturing, to handle marketing? Kind of what are your goals in terms of building out your next steps?
Yeah, so right now I've kind of been looking into different avenues of funding. I've kind of yeah, I kind of came to like a little bit of a standstill there for a few months, just trying to figure out what the next step is. And I think the next step for me really is just really working with my designer to like get a product to maybe develop or test or just show to start a Kickstarter. That's why I definitely need more expertise in Kickstarter, because I think that there are so many components that go into it. You know, you have to market it, and you have to figure out, like, I don't, like, we've thought about maybe people could just pre-order our product, if that would be a way to go, or, I mean, there are so many ways to do it. So, sorry, I know that's kind of a vague answer, but we're all kind of figuring it out.
Put Michael on your email list. I think she wants to invest. One last question I could take. One last question. I thought I saw another hand go up. Anybody have another? Oh, well, that's pretty impressive.
We're talking about other industries beyond commercial.
Other industries beyond. And you actually do think that there's some opportunity there, right?
Yeah, I do. I think it's definitely more of a saturated market for women. I mean, there are options out there. I've still heard from countless women, though, that even the options that do exist aren't incredible. And I think one thing that like the vision I have for this company is really to like we'll excel at women's gear. And I think like that's maybe a competitive advantage we have over a lot of these retailers, is these retailers are making women's gear because they have to. Kind of, it almost seems like that, like it's an afterthought. So if we can come into this market and like be a gear brand that stands for women and does women's gear really well, I think we have a big opportunity there. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Megan. I wish you the best of luck. This is so awesome. I hope you'll stay in touch with us.